We are reading My Sweet Audrina. This is part 1, and this is the rocking chair. Vera had come to my room that night, soon after I climbed into bed, determined to have only happy thoughts before sleeping, hoping they'd lead to happy dreams, hobbling with considerable skill on the crutches she'd grown accustomed to. She managed to carry things in a book bag she'd slung over her shoulder, only this book bag was different from any I'd seen before. "Here," she said, tossing me the bag on the bed. "Educate yourself. Those two women in the kitchen will never teach you what I will." I felt a little skeptical but happy, nevertheless, that she was interested in my education. I knew there were many things I was missing by not going to school. Shaking the bag's contents into the bed, dozens of photographs kept from magazines filled in my bed in a ragged clump. I couldn't believe my eyes when I picked them up and started to separate them, staring all the time at pictures that showed naked men and women in lewd, weird embraces. The hateful things clung to my fingers, so tacky I plucked them free from one hand, only to find them sticking to the other. Then, to my consternation, I heard the heavy footsteps of my papa's feet as he came toward my room. Vera had done this on purpose. She knew Papa came to my room each night around this time. "I'm going," said Vera, with a delighted grin. She hobbled toward the door of the bedroom that adjoined mine, planning to escape Papa. "Don't you dare tell him I was here if you know it's good for you." But on her crutches, she couldn't move fast enough. Papa threw open the door and glared at the two of us. "What's going on in here?" he asked. With the guilty evidence stuck to my fingers, I hesitated and thus gave Vera the chance to dump all the crime in my lap. "I found that book bag in the closet, and since it was monogrammed with her initials, I thought this Audrina should have it." Scowling darkly, Papa came to me and tore the clippings from my fingers. He took one glance and howled in rage. Then, whirling around, he thrust out his arm and sent Vera reeling to the floor, and she was already broken enough. Like someone demented and dying, Vera screamed out her rage. "It's hers! Why are you hitting me?" Papa picked her up and held her as if she were some stiff-legged puppy from the gutter. She held her over my bed. "Now pick them up," he ordered harshly. "My first Audrina would no more look at that filth than she'd tar and feather you, which I'll do if you don't stop tormenting me. Now you have to eat them," he added, when she had them in her nervous, pale hand. I thought he was joking. So did she. "I'm going to scream for my mother," threatened Vera. "I'm hurt. I've got broken bones. I could die. You let me go, or tomorrow I'll go to the police and tell them you abused me." "Eat them," he bellowed. "You've coated them with glue. They shouldn't taste worse than your mother's cooking." "Papa," she wailed, don't make me eat paper and glue." Snorting in disgust, he carried her out of the room. A few seconds later, I heard her screaming as he applied his belt to her bare skin. I didn't truly know if he used his belt when she was naked, but 10 to 1 she'd tell me he did. Vera could scream if fly had lit her on her arm. So how could I know unless I got up and found out for myself? I never did because for some reason I was afraid what she said not be true. Minutes passed while my heart raced. Eventually Vera's screams ebbed away, but still Papa didn't come. Somewhere downstairs clocked time 10 times, but that meant little. Every bone in my body ached, every muscle was tensed. I knew I'd have to sit in that rocking chair again tonight. Finally, when I felt I could bear the suspense no longer, knowing I'd never fall asleep until I did what he forced me to do, I heard a door close and soon heavy footfalls sounded in the corridor. Papa's tread was even, heavy, squeaking the oak-sided floorboards. Softly he eased open my bedroom door and stepped inside. Quietly he closed the door behind him. He loomed up in the night like some huge monster, casting a long shadow in the dimness of my moonlit room. "So," he drawled, in the most beguiling southern voice, cultivated over the years from his clipped Yankee delivery, "now you've taken a look and I've seen photographs that will dirty your mind? That shames me, Audrina. Really shames me." "Not me, Papa," I said. "Vera brought them in here. But don't hit her again, please. You could break her other arm and leg, or maybe her neck. You shouldn't whip her when she's hurt." "I don't whip her," he said harshly. "I just scolded her." And she started screaming that I didn't love her. God, how can anyone love someone who makes so much trouble? "Even if Vera brought in those nasty pictures and gave them to you, you didn't have to look, did you?" "Didn't I? I thought better of you than that. Don't let Vera destroy the best that's in you." "Why are boys dangerous for me and not for Vera, Papa? Some girls are born to be what Vera is. Boys can sniff them out from miles away. That's why I don't bother about her. It wouldn't do any good. It's you I care about because it's you I love. I used to be a boy, and I know how boys think. I'm sorry to say most boys cannot be trusted. That's why you have to stay out of the woods and close to home and out of school too. It's dangerous for a beautiful, sensitive girl like you. It's the kind of woman you'll grow up to be that will be the salvation of mankind. That's why I struggle to save you and protect you from contamination. But Papa, don't protest. Just accept the fact that parents worry. Adults are far wiser about the world, especially wise about their own flesh and blood. We know you're ultra-sensitive. We want to spare you those unnecessary pains. We love you. We want to see you grow up happy and healthy. That's all. Don't protest. He came to sit on the edge of my bed as I lay on my back, frozen and trying not to breathe. Tightly, I squeezed my eyelids together. My lips parted a bit to peek and see if he believed I'd fallen asleep. So deeply asleep I might even be dead. And maybe in death I'd gain the nobility of the first and best Audrina. I would never have to sit in the chair again. But we leaned closer. I seized hold of the sheet and pulled it up high over my chin. Papa's iron-like hands closed over my shoulders. His strong fingers digging into my skin made my eyes pop wide open. Now, he soothed. It's not so bad, is it? You've done it before, and you can do it again. I know sooner or later you will catch the gift, if you're patient and keep trying. You can help me, Audrina. But, I stammered, wanting to make him stop. But he went on, and daunting me with his needs, which had to be my needs too. I was afraid. Still, my love for him made me an easy subject, willing to be cajoled, flattered, and won over the feeling I had to be wanted just for my gifts when I had them. And all you have to do is dream, Audrina. Just dream. Dream. That was one thing I didn't want to do. Was he going to keep it up until I was an old lady, or would I be able to seize hold of the first Audrina's gift and satisfy Papa? Pray God the first and best Audrina's gift would help me end up differently than she did. Why didn't he ever worry about that? Dream, Audrina, my love, my sweet. Shakespeare wrote about it. To sleep, chance to dream. To dream and know the truth. Come back and give me your dreams, Audrina, and make all your father's hopes for the future come true. I stared at him sitting there on my bed, his dark eyes were no longer glittering and frightening, only pleading and full of love. How could I keep on resisting? He was my father. Fathers were supposed to know right from wrong. And I did owe him a great deal. Yes, Papa, I whispered, just one more time. Won't just one more time be enough? Perhaps it will be, he said, his smile lighting up his face. Appearing happy, Papa led me by my hand down the hall to the very end room. Once there, he released me. He took out a large key to unlock the door. I felt a cold draft that made me shiver. It was the first Audrina's grave breathing on me. I looked around as I always did, as if I'd never been here before. I couldn't say how many times I'd been in here. This room seemed to be one thing that filled all the holes in my memory, living larger than any other experience. Yet each time I came, it was a shock to hear the wind chimes in the cupola begin to softly tinkle and tinkle. Even in the dark crystal prism, colors flashed behind my eyes. Perhaps I had seized hold of a memory, the memory of this all too familiar room. Perhaps I was beginning to benefit just from being here. If it hadn't once been her room, I'd have wanted it for my own. It was huge, with a big tester bed under the fancy canopy. There were two giant dark armories filled with all the pretty clothes that had once been hers, clothes they didn't want me to wear. Little shoes were lined up in neat rows from one of your sizes to those a 9-year-old girl would wear. Some were scuffed and old, some were skinny and new. The dresses that hung above grew longer with each succeeding year. Toy shelves lined walls, full of everything any little girl could ever want. There were dolls from every foreign country dressed in knitted costumes. There was toy tea sets and dinner sets, picture books and storybooks, beach balls and bouncing balls, jump ropes and fancy hangers, jacks, boxes of games, puzzles, and paint sets. Oh, there was nothing they hadn't bought for the first, the best, and the most perfect Audrina. Far more than they bought for me. Oh, those dark and brooding shelves where the toys sat internally grieving and waiting to be loved again were dozens of soft, plushy pastel animals, all with dark button eyes that glinted and gleamed and seemed to follow my movements. Even baby rattles with small teeth marks were there, and worn-looking bronze baby shoes in which she'd taken her first steps. I hadn't saved mine, had been bronze, nor had I saved theirs. Beneath the wide windows covered by fussy white Priscilla curtains was a dollhouse. A child's toy table with 4 chairs was set ready for the party that was never given. Fancy rugs were scattered about like stepping stones across the room, compartmentalizing rooms within the room, mazes within the maze. Quietly as vandals, we left the doorway and stole inside that room that blessedly awaited us. My bedroom slippers were left in the hallway outside, as were his. To show I respected this room, the perfect daughter had once reigned. The very way Papa had taught me to bow my head and lower my eyes and speak in reverent whispers once I was in the room, instilled fear in me. Expectantly, he kept his eyes on me, as if waiting for memories or specialness to jump into my brain until my switch to his memory with the first Audrina's gifts. He kept watching me, waiting for something to happen. When I only turned in circles, staring at one thing and the other, he grew impatient and gestured toward the only adult-sized chair in the room. The magic rocking chair with the lacy calla lily back and the rose velvet cushion. I inched toward it reluctantly, holding my breath as I forced myself to sit. Once I had stiffly settled myself on the seat, he came to kneel at my side, then began his ritual kisses rained on my hair, my face, even my arms and hands, all meant to tell me that he loved me best. He murmured endearments in my ear, his breath hot and damp, and before I could protest, he bounded to his feet and raced from the room, slamming the locking door behind him. He had never left me alone in here before. "No, Papa," I screamed, panic in my voice, terror all around me. "Come back! Don't make me stay in here by myself." "You're not alone," he called to me from the other side of the door. "God is with you, and I am with you. I'll stay and wait right here, watching through the keyhole, listening and praying. Nothing but good can come from rocking in that chair. Believe that, Audrina. Nothing but good will fill your brain and replace your lost memories." I squeezed my eyes shut and heard the wind chimes clamoring louder, much louder now. "Sweetheart, don't cry. There's nothing to be afraid of. Hold on to your faith in me and do as I say, and your future will shine more brightly than the sun above." Beside the chair was one of the night tables that had a lamp and a Bible, her Bible. I snatched up the black leather-bound book and held it close to my heart. I told myself, as I told myself before, that there was nothing to be afraid of. The dead couldn't harm anyone, but if they couldn't, why was I so terrified? I heard Papa's voice from outside the locked door. "You do have your gifts, Audrina, you do. Even if you don't believe, I believe. And I'm the one who knows. I'm sure the reason our previous efforts have failed is because I stayed in the room with you. It's my presence that runs your chances of succeeding. I now know it's solitude, loneliness that makes the process begin. You've got to wash your mind free of anxieties. Feel no fear, no joy, no confusion. Expect nothing and everything will be given. Feel nothing but contentment to be alive, to be where you are and who you are. Ask nothing, receive everything. Sit there and let go of whatever makes you afraid or worried. Let contentment loosen your limbs and relax your mind. And if sleep wants to come, then let it come. Do you hear me? Are you listening? No confusion, no fear, for Papa is here." All his words were familiar, same old thing about not being afraid, when fear was almost choking me. "Papa," I wailed one last time, "please don't make me." "Oh," he said heavily, "why do I have to force you? Why can't you just believe? Lean back in that rocker. Put your head against the high back and hold the chair arms and begin to rock. Sing if it helps to wash your mind clean of fear and worries and desires and emotions. Sing and sing until you become an empty pitcher. Empty pitchers have room for many, many things, but full pitchers can hold no more." Oh yes, I heard this before. I knew what he was doing. He was trying to turn me into the first Audrina, or maybe I was going to be the instrument through which he'd be able to communicate with her. I didn't want to be her, and if I ever was her, I'd hate him. Yet he kept soothing me, telling me, and if I didn't want to stay here all night, I'd have to do as he said. First I stared around at the room again, memorizing every little detail. Every tickling sensation began to whisper. If I could be her, I was her, the dead Audrina. There was only bones in her grave. No. Had to think the bright thoughts and give to Papa what he had to have. I told myself this was only a bedroom filled with old toys. I saw a huge spider spinning a web from doll to doll. Mama didn't like housework, even cleaning this room. Though it appeared a spotless pick and span shrine, it wasn't anything but surface clean. For some reason that made me feel better. Mama was paying what Papa called lip service, reverent cleanliness, and Nancy Elizabeth refused to clean this room. Unconsciously I began to rock. Into my head filtered an old, almost forgotten tune. The music and the lyrics played over and over again. The words lulled me, while the melody tinkled my spine and slowed my pulse. Peace was coming unbidden to my heavy eyelids, and then vaguely I heard the frail voice singing. Just a playroom, safe in my room, only a playroom, safe in my room. Got no tears, no fears, and nowhere else to roam, as my Papa wants me to always stay home. Safe in my playroom, safe in my home. The playroom was the first and best Audrina, the perfect Audrina who'd never given her parents the pain and trouble I delivered daily. I didn't want to sing her song, but I couldn't stop. On and on I heard that singing, trying to keep my eyes open so they could see those elephants and bears and toy tigers on the toy shelves. all sweet and friendly looking until I glanced away. When I looked back there, fiercely snarling. The wallpaper was faded bluish-violet, intertwined glittery silver threads to make spider webs on the walls. There were more spiders on the toys. A giant one began to weave more dollars together, and another came to rest in the eye socket of one doll that had hair somewhat the color of my own. How awful. Rock, Audrina, rock, ordered Papa. Make the floorboards squeak. Make the gray mist come. Watch the walls dissolve. Hear the wind chimes tinkle. They'll take you back to where you'll find all your memories, all the gifts that were hers. She doesn't need them where she is, but you do, so sing. Sing, sing, hypnotizing like a sing-song chant. He, too, had to use, but he didn't know the words I was saying. Papa loves me, yes he does. Papa needs me, yes he does. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Shiny black button eyes on the fleshy animals seemed to glitter and gleam with more knowledge than I'd ever had. Little pink or red tongues appeared ready to speak and tell me secrets Papa would never reveal. High above the wind chimes were twinkling, and contentment was coming as I rocked and become more and more tranquil. Nothing wrong with me, for sooner or later I was going to be changed in some indefinable way for the better. I grew sleepier, unreal feeling. The orangey light of the glass lamp shivered, caught silver and gold threads in the newspaper wall. All the colors in the room began to move, to sparkle like diamonds, suddenly caught fire. The music of the cupola wind chimes was in my brain, dancing, telling me of happy playtimes up there, slyly whispering of one terrible time up there. Who was flashing that crystal prism in my eyes? How did the wind get into the house to blow my hair when the windows were all locked down? Were there drafts in the cupola and ghosts in the attic? What made the hair on my head move? What? Way back near the sane side of me, I wanted to believe all of this was hopeless, that I would never become an empty picture that was full of everything wonderful. I truly didn't want to be the first Audrina, even if she had been more beautiful and more gifted too. Still, I rocked and sang. I couldn't stop. Contentment was on the way, making me happier. My panicky heart slowed. My pulse stopped racing. The music I heard was beautiful, as I heard behind me or ahead of me a man's voice singing. Someone who needed me was calling. Someone who was in the future waiting, and dreamingly and questioningly I finally saw the walls open, as the molecules slowly separated and opened, and formed such grainy pores. Free, I was free of the playground, free of my papa, free of Whitehorn. I was skipping merrily home from school on my own special day, and I was me. Happily, I danced along a woodsy dirt path. I just left school, and I didn't question or wonder about this, even knowing I'd never been to school. Something wise was telling me I was inside the first and most wonderful Audrina, and I was going to know her well as I knew myself. I was her, and she was me, and we were wearing a beautiful crepe time dress. I wore my best petticoat underneath it, the one with Irish lace and embroidered shamrocks to the hem. It was my birthday when I was 9 years old. That meant soon I'd be 10, and 10 wasn't so far away from being 11. And when I was 12, all the magic of becoming a woman was close at hand. I spun in circles to see my accordion-pretty skirt flare up to my waist. I inclined my head and spun some more to see my pretty petticoat. Suddenly there was a noise on the path ahead. Someone giggled. Like black magic, the sky abruptly turned dark. Lightning flashed. Thunder rolled deep and anonymously. I couldn't move. Like a statue of marble, I stood frozen. My heart began to beat wildly like a jungle drum. Some sixth sense woke up and screamed that something awful was about to happen. Pain, my sixth sense was beating out. Shame, terror, and humiliation. Mama, Papa, help me. Don't let them hurt me. Don't let them do it. I went to Sunday school every week, didn't miss even when I was cold. I'd earned my black Bible with my name on the cover, emblazoned in gold, and I had a gold medal, too. Why hadn't the rocking chair warned me and told me how to escape? God, are you there? Are you seeing, God? Do something. Do anything. Help me. Out of the bushes they jumped, 3 of them. Run fast. They'd never catch me if I ran fast enough. My legs unlocked. They ran, but not fast enough. Scream louder and louder. I fought with kicks and scratches. I butted my head back against the teeth of the boy who pinned my arms behind me. God didn't hear me cry for help. Nobody heard. Scream, and scream again until I could scream no more. Just feel the shame, the humiliation, the ruthless hands that ripped and tore and violated. See the other boy who rose from behind the bushes and stood there paralyzed, staring at me with his hair pasted down on his forehead from the rain that came down hard. Seeing ran away. My screams brought Papa flying into the room. Darling, he cried. It's all right, I'm here. I'll always be here. You shouldn't have, I choked. What did you dream this time, my love? Bad things. Same awful thing. Tell Papa everything. Let Papa take away the pain and shame. Do you know now why I warned you to stay out of the woods? That was your sister, Audrina, your dead sister. It doesn't have to happen to you. You're letting that seep into your head when all I want is for you to travel beyond the woods and take yourself all the specialness she used to have. Did you see how happy she could be? How joyful and vibrant? Did you feel how wonderful it used to be for her when she stayed out of the woods? That's what I want for you, my sweet Audrina. It won't always be that way. Someday when you sit down to rock and sing nearby past the woods, forget the boys and find the beauty of being alive. Once you do, all the memories you've forgotten, the good things will come flooding back and make you whole again. He was telling me with good intentions that I wasn't whole now, and if that were so, what was I, crazy? Tomorrow night we'll do this again. I don't think it was as bad this time as before. This time you pulled out of it and came back to me. I knew I had to save myself from this room and this chair. Somehow I had to convince him I had gone on beyond the woods and had already found the gifts the first Audrina no longer needed. Tenderly he took me into bed, and on his knees he said a prayer to send me safely into sweet dreams, asking the angels on high to protect me through the night. He kissed my cheek and said he loved me, and even as he closed the door behind him, I was wondering how I could convince him not to make me go to that room and sit in that chair again. How could I hate what he did to me and love the idea of being what he wanted? How did I preserve me when he was trying to turn me into her? For hours I lay on my back staring at the ceiling, trying to find my past in all the fancy swirls in the overhead gutter. Papa had given me many clues as to what would make him happiest. Papa wanted lots and lots of money for himself, for Mama, for me too. He wanted to fill up this house and make it new again. He had to fulfill the promises he made Lucilla Lane Whiteford, Harris, every working man on the lower East Coast had wanted until she married him. What a catch my mother had been. If only she hadn't given birth to two Audrinas.